Welcome back to Castle Rock Farm and Homestead. Working on getting some fencing fixed up, working on some goat paddocks. So we were working on getting goat paddocks the last few videos. And then we had a post we are going to have to replace to get a gate in here. So you can see, not showing up very good on camera, but it's got some wiggle to it. It's all rotted out down here at the bottom. You can see I've got some T-post in here, pipe, temporary fixes I've kind of driven in the ground there to keep it in place for now. But what we're going to have to do is, I don't know if you guys can really see that, the wire's just kind of been wrapped around and just stapled off. So I'm going to pop out some of those staples because I need to save as much wire as I can. We're going to have to add and then pull it tight when we put the new post in to staple it off, and then the added wire is going to have to be what goes around it. So I'm going to get pulling those out. Alright, pardon the angle here, but I'm going to show you guys a little bit, change my mind a little bit. See how it's stapled all around, but it just terminates right there. So to go around it, I'm actually just going to not waste my time on stapling it. I'm just going to cut it right here. Then we can take these little pieces here, wrap them back around themselves, and that's where we can tie off the new wire to go around the new post. Save some time, work smarter, not harder. Sorry guys, it's probably getting a little windy out here, but as you can see, I pulled out, took my T-post puller and pulled out those T-posts. Come to find out, that post was completely rotted off. Those T-posts and that pipe are the only things holding it up. Get down in here. Yeah, there's nothing left of that post at all. You can see it's just dirt. So it shouldn't be a big deal getting my one-man post auger in here, drilling out a hole, getting that ready for that next post. Thought I was gonna have to take a chain in the tractor and pull that out, which would have made for some good video, but not gonna happen. Just gotta finish cutting the wires, pull out that H-brace. We'll put in a new we'll put a bolt in there or something to hold that H-brace in. Right now it's just kind of nailed in there, and then we'll put on the tension wire. You can see the old tension wire here. That's really not doing anything because it's rotted out and rusted off. So we'll replace that as well. You can see our nice blackberry bush. I'll have to cut off some of that if I want to survive getting everything in there. Here we are back at the fence. Got to finish replacing that post to hang the gate back up. It's been a couple days. I've got an off-farm job, so work full-time in town doing other things, so this is kind of my weekend thing. Also, I'm filthy dirty today already since I had to replace the pressure tank on our well pump, so that took most of the day as well. Got that done, no leaks, so that's successful. Bean making his appearance for every video there. He's actually right where we're going to have to drill this hole. I have one of the little one-man powered augers, so we're going to use that with like a 6-inch, yeah, I can't talk today, 6-inch bit. We'll drill that hole out, put the post in. I do have a little cement left over from another project. I'll dump that in there and we'll get that set, and then come back next time I have some time, try to get that gate hung and show you stretching the fence and all that fun stuff. So let's go grab that auger and get going. You'll have to pardon the wind today. It's a little bit windy out here. Just a Predator auger from Harbor Freight. Not sponsored in any way. This is what I use. I don't do it that much, so inexpensive. It gets the job done. I did warm it up already. I wanted to make sure it worked before I got out here and started doing everything. So should start right up here. Let's get at it. Did hit little bits and chunks of it here and there. See my hole there? I'm down 1.5 to 2 feet. I'm hitting the remnants of the old post, and it's not wanting to go any deeper with that auger. I'm going to grab a manual digger, dig out a little bit more here, and then see where we're at. Sometimes you got to do it the old-fashioned way. Gonna get down here with this manual digger, dig that out as far as I can. That power dogger, I was hitting the remnants of the post down in there and it was twisted so much I was gonna break a wrist or something. So we're gonna go do it some manual labor here. Back at the hole. So got the hole dug out a little bit more. Got this nice used fence post, part of that free fencing stuff I said I got. So this is nice. This thing weighs probably 70, 80 pounds. It was a heavy one, but it'd be a good one to hang the gate off of. Nice and heavy, nice and sturdy, plenty of wood to put the bolts through. So all I'm gonna do is pour in, half a bag of cement, so 25 pounds of cement left over from other stuff. I'm gonna pour all that in there and then I'll pour a little water in and wet it down. There's enough moisture in the ground right now since it's springtime. Well, technically not spring yet, but close enough. Sure feels like it today. There's enough moisture that if I don't get enough water in there, the cement will pull the moisture out of the dirt surrounding it. I'll let it sit for a day or so before I do anything else with it. So let's get this cement in there evenly around the post. Don't want to breathe this stuff in. What I got, instead of using big 2x4s and bracing and screwing into it and stuff, I had these wedges left over from the Funky Hutch. So I'm just going to use them, wedge them into the hole here to hold it into place. Put them on 3 sides. Got a nice little wedge shape there. It's gonna hold it up. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Get it close to level as I can, eyeball level. You can always adjust the gate as we need to once it's up. Just gonna wet that down a little bit. I don't know, maybe put a gallon or so in. There's all I did. That's going to be plenty to get that set up. Like I said, I'm going to leave it for a day or so before I do anything else to this. And then we'll pack the dirt around on top, hide that cement down in there. Won't be able to see it. It'll brace this thing up nice and tight, and we'll be able to get that gate put on here. Here we are, going to be back at the post, getting that ready to go. Unfortunately, it's like 40-50 mile an hour winds out there, so you can't hear anything I am saying. So I'm going to draw you a picture and show you what we're going to be doing, then you can watch me do it. But you're not going to hear anything that's going on out there besides the wind. So let me show you what we're going to be doing today. First, I'm going to fill in that hole around the base. Yeah, my kid's toolbox and some other junk. Dirty workbench. Means I'm doing stuff at least. But we got to fill in the dirt at the base of the hole above the cement that we poured in. And then this is what we got. I'll draw you a picture here. So you got your ground. We have our existing post and your new post. This is the pipe that was in between for the H brace. And so what I got to do is put this back in. There's a couple nails in this existing post that kind of just hold it in place. Then what I'm going to do here is drill all the way through. And I got a big long 10-12 inch bolt I'm going to drive through just to hold the other end, because this is like a hollow pipe. So that's the brace, because when you put your fence on, we got our fence wires. They're going to be pulling this direction, and that's going to want to pull the fence and the post that direction. So this braces against this post to keep the post from leaning over. Then you get this wire in here to tighten the top of this post down to the base of this, because since this is cemented in down here, it's not going to want to move. But with the fence pulling this direction, it's going to pull this, transfer the weight into the top of this post, and it's going to push it this direction. But this, once you tighten them down, wrap around the top there, wrap around the bottom here, take the wire, twist it in the middle to tighten it up. It will pull this way to pull the top of this post that direction. So you got both forces pushing against each other, which makes this H-brace sturdy. This is existing H-brace. A lot of newer things will put a brace kind of at an angle up this way, all the way up. So you kind of have the opposite forces, but this is what's there, so I'm going to use that. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to fill in the dirt down here. Going to get this installed. We're going to put this wire around, and then we'll stretch our wires. I'm not sure if we'll get to that today or not, but that's what we're going to get done for now. This post is actually way taller. We'll take a chainsaw and cut that off at some point as well. Just want to show you guys what's going to be going on in the video since you're not going to be able to hear me. And let's get out there and let's get going on this. Right, one little thing I didn't mention. I'm going to put in a fence staple down here, nice and loose, and at the top of that other post, that'll give me a place to run the tension wire through. I'll feed it through there, tighten it up, then I'll hammer those staples down in tight to hold it in place. Alright, so there's actually the old staple on the top of that old post. Sorry about the zoom there. Gonna use that one, just cut the old wire out. It's in there, it's still loose. And you can see me struggling with the bramble bushes there, so I'm gonna get on that. Alright, so you can see you got the wire ran. Now we're going to take this pipe and put it in and twist it together. So right in the middle there, we'll twist it together. Okay, you can see we got this all nice and tight. That post isn't moving over there. This isn't wiggling around anymore, so we're all good there. Now we can go ahead and staple off, work on stapling off our woven wire. Pardon the wind noise, but here you can see what I've done. I've taken the ends of the wire, since it wasn't long enough where we had to cut it before, looped them back around themselves, each one. Took my homemade fence stretcher there, just 2x4 sandwiched around the woven wire. Then I used some ratchet straps tied off to that other post to pull everything tight. So all I'm going to do is take some wire, loop them in through our loops here, go around the post and tie it off to itself. You've seen me do that before, so I'm not going to bore you with the details there. Here we are, day like, I don't know, 500. That's what you get when you work full-time and trying to do this on the side. You do what little bit you can when you can. So back at it again today. Got all the wires tied off, got the barbed, woven. Didn't make a mistake, and I'm going to show you guys. Some reason that cement I put down did not set very well. So when I was messing with it, it kept wobbling. So I dug out around the post, put in some gravel that I just had a little bit extra from when I plowed for the snow this year. Some piled up, so I took some of that pile, packed it in really good around the base, and you can see I took a scrap piece of pipe. It's probably, yes, high beam, probably about a 3-foot long pipe. Drove it into the ground there about 2 foot, and then pounded up against the post. Took my little sawzall. Pardon the cat there. He likes to sit on me while I do things. See? Shoulder cat. So took my sawzall, cut a little notch in there for the wire to go into. Use a heavy duty wire. Tighten that around the base of the post really, really well. Now it's not moving anywhere. So I'll show you all the mistakes I make. Let the cat get off here, so you can learn from them. So now what we got to do is get this cut off about here. I'm going to use one of those cheap Amazon electric chainsaws, trimming chainsaws, so nothing big and fancy. Do have a big steel, what is it, 360 Wood Max or something like that, I don't know. I'm not getting sponsored by any of this, so I don't really remember the names. But we're going to cut that off. We're going to cut it off at a little bit of angle so it sheds water. So when it rains, it'll shed water, not right out the post so fast. And then we'll get the gate on here, show you how I do that. It is an older, different style gate. It's not your standard tube gate, but if you have any kind of farm, especially an older one, you probably have some of these other style of gates around, so I'll show you how I get them on here. So let's go grab that saw and we'll see how it does. Never used it. Doesn't have any kind of oil or anything, but this post ain't that big, so we'll see how it works here. Just watch out for the screws and stuff that are in here, but we'll get going and see what this does. Oh, not too bad for what it is. Loosened up the chain a little bit there, so I'll have to tighten that down next time. First cut, not too bad. I don't know if you can see that there. It's the Cecil brand, the 21 volt. I think they're all made by the same people. They all look identical, just different colors. Alright, so we got you down at the bottom of the gate here. So this isn't your typical tube style. It's kind of this, I don't know, angle iron type stuff. And your tube style gates are going to have basically little clamps that clamp around the tube, and they're kind of adjustable up and down, so it's not as important to get your marks right for putting in your gate hinges. These ones though, it's got these little brackets here held on with a little 9/16 bolt. These brackets just slide in and out of the channel, and then bolt to it, so they're not adjustable up and down. So I got to get the bottom and the top where I want them. So I'm going to my bottom one, which is going to kind of point up so the gravity holds it on there. I'm going to keep this up off the ground just a little bit. I don't want it too high because we run cattle and calves out here. I don't want calves coming under and destroying my garden. So I'm going to get it up about here. I can kind of eyeball where I want that bottom gate hinge to be, which is going to be just below my wire there. So what I'm going to do is drill my hole right under there and show you how I screw that thing in. Then once we get the bottom in, we can set the gate on that and use it to figure out our top placement. Go in as far as I can, just so the threads on the hinge go all the way in without having to crank on it too much. Here's the basic type of hinge I'm using. It's got the little rod that comes up. That's what that gate latch is going to sit on. This just screws into the post. So at the bottom here, you can't really get around it too much to crank on it with like a pipe or anything. So I use a pipe for a little bit and channel locks for the rest. They're adjustable. You can screw it in and out as far as you want to get your gate level. bring one in tighter, bring it out looser. We'll do that once we get everything in there. I'm going to get this where I want it, get it set, then I'll adjust using the top one. So I'll get this in almost all the way into the base here. Just use my channel locks, kind of get the grip on the head of this, and use that to crank it in. And once it's in most of the way, get it near the top. If you really got to get some leverage, you can use a piece of pipe. So it's getting in there pretty nice and snug. You can see it's kind of a tedious process, not having much clearance between the ground and that. So now that I got that rod that the gate's going to ride on, kind of pointing back, I can use this pipe here to get it back in, straight up and down vertical there. Get it eyeball level, and then we'll go ahead and set the gate on that and get our top one marked. Top one goes down like this. So you got one rod coming up, going down, traps the gate in there, so something can't just, if you have them both going up, something can just pick the gate up off of there. If you have them both going down, obviously gravity's just going to pull it off of them. You got to have one up, one down, holds the gate on there. See, you got the bottom of the gate set on down there. Look down the gate here. Got it setting on the top piece of that post that we cut off, just to kind of help hold it where I want it. It's roughly the slope I want. I don't want it perfectly level because I'm going downhill here. I'm going to want the base of this gate to run roughly parallel with the ground. Otherwise, I'm going to have like my, I don't know, 3-inch gap there. That's easily 8-inch gap down there already. So if I make it perfectly level, it's going to be a 3-inch gap on this one end and like a foot gap on the other, give room for calves and stuff to get underneath there. By the time the calves get out here, they're usually not that small, but I'm not going to chance it. So here we are at the top hinge. Try to get this set up where I'm not falling over here. Dealing with not level ground, obviously, if my gate can't be level. It's really bad right here. Don't want you too close. There we go. So we got our top hinge here. It's going to go in like this and into the gate, into the post. So I can get that kind of roughly where I want it. Third hand there. Use this to mark where I'm going to need it. Who cares? It's an outdoor post. I'm going to draw on it. Get my line over. Get that center line of the post. Make a mark where I'm going to drill. It doesn't have to be down flat in there. Actually, you don't want it completely tight against there to give it some room to rotate easily without binding. So now that I got my mark done, I'll drill that in. And I'll show you how we put these on. It's kind of finicky because you can't slide it up and down. You got to go in and out. So I'm trying to get these on the gate and then in the post, and it's a little bit of a process with these different style gates. Here's a nice thing about the upper ones. Get it started, you can just take this piece of pipe and just use this like this, because now you got plenty of clearance. So you can see this is much faster, much less finicky than the bottom ones. So kind of taking a look at your bottom one, how far out it is here from the post, and you use this top one. If you make them even, it's going to try to pull it level. Obviously the weight's going to pull it down a little bit. Plus I kind of want mine to go down a little bit with the slope of the hill here. So I'm going to get this top one's going to be just out from where the bottom one is. That way I'll get the slope. With the weight and the slope of the hill, it should work out about right. Like I said, that one we want down so it pinches the gate in between them. Here here comes the fun part of messing with the hinges on the gate itself. I'm going to show you those. So what we got, sorry for the shaky work there, they're bolted in here. You can slide in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those bolts out, loosen it up the top and the bottom, get them on there, slide it in, and then we can kind of slide it around till we get it where the bolt holes line up and bolt them in. But that's going to give me the play I need to get it sandwiched in between the two hinge bolts there. So got the bottom down there on the bolt. See, this top one is hitting. So I got to figure out how to crank everything, kind of angle it in there to get this to work. You almost got to slide them off that way, almost up the hinges, so then you can pull the whole gate back under the hinges. See, now that I got it in there, I can pull it back towards me. Then all I got to do is line up the bolt holes and pop the bolts back in. I'm going to start with the bottom down here, get that in, get the top one in, and we should be set. See, now we got the top and the bottom in, got the bolts in there. Tighten that down. Get yourself a set of these ratcheting wrenches, they're amazing. So that's about it. Losing my microphone here. Wind knocked my stand over and snapped off the mount. So you see I had to finagle with it a little bit. Propped up this end down here with a couple scrap pieces of wood. Now that I'm done, I'm going to kick them out of there. See how the gate sits. Swing either way. It's ideally the way I want it to go there. Before, when I was going the other way, it was getting in my way because I have to come from this direction with my tractor usually, so I'd swing out and have to go out and around. Now I can just come right in. Got a chain. I chain it off to this post to keep it from going back and forth. Chunk of wood out of the way. So if I want to, I can even go into the yard there. So that wraps it up for this gate install. Try to bring it back in so you can see it a little bit better here. Swing it into the yard a bit, but like I said, I'll get that chained off. So thank you so much for watching. Learn from my mistakes. Other than that, please like and subscribe. Keep growing this channel. Hopefully I bring you more things you can learn from, more things you can learn not to do, and just have some fun here on the farm. I'm back. I just realized I forgot to show you guys the gate for the electric fencing. So what we use here is to get these handles. You got a hook on this side that hooks into this little contraption that I showed you before on the post. There's like a spring in the handle. It kind of pulls the wire, so you tie the wire off on this side hooks onto this little eye loop there. When we run down our line here, got another one of these on here. You can see the hot wire coming in. Obviously it's not on. It pulls this way for tension. Then you tie off your gate here. I'm going to take some pliers and crank on it to tighten this up as much as I can. So the gate's going to pull this way, the wire's going to pull this way. Same on the other end, the hook pulls one way, the fence pulls the other way. That keeps your tension, and that lets your your current travel through above your gates. So you leave enough space there so you're not grounded out on your gate. I like to put my handle and the open end of the gate on the same side, so that way you're not going unlatching the handle down there and then coming down here and doing the gate. So yeah, that's what the gate system we use. There's a billion different things out there. Those are what was here when we moved here, so I reuse as much as I can. I try to keep things actual farm setting or anything to get figured out. So yeah, once again, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.